The signs are everywhere. This is a critical time, and preparedness is no longer an option. It's a must. Are you ready for what's coming? Hey guys, it's Gerald with Wicked Prepared. We are heading towards a serious global food crisis, and this is real, friends. It's slowly, quietly creeping in. There's no doubt it's going to be getting worse and hitting us harder in the coming months and years. Things are tense on a global scale, to say the least, and things are shifting. The truths that we once knew are no longer something we can depend on. Conflicts overseas are affecting us now. They're going to continue to affect us for the foreseeable future. Economic signs are troubling. The supply chain is stressed and crumbling, and we're vulnerable to an attack on our soil. We are in a day and age that an attack on our soil can mean a lot of things, far beyond bombs flying or troops invading. It could mean a cyber attack on our power grid or our water infrastructure or our financial systems. It could mean an EMP attack that would send us back into the dark ages for years to come. These things have been and are being planned against our country. It's just a matter of how and when something happens. Remember, the most likely time for something to happen is when we least expect it. So it's important to remain prepared and vigilant all the time, not just when we feel urgency. People always think they have time, but that window is closing. Rising prices, the rise in cost of living, and tightening supply are all working against us. True preparedness, it's not something that you start and finish. It's a constant undertone of daily life, constantly building, improving, refreshing, strengthening. Done properly, it doesn't have to pervade your every thought or monopolize your time and your budget. And it prevents panic rather than creating it. So whether you've been at it for years or you're just getting started, keep going. Every so often, I share a snapshot of what we've personally been stocking up on, hoping to inspire people to think, to start, to improve, or to help someone else. Not only what I've bought, but why, deals I've found that you might be able to take advantage of, and hidden gems that you may never have thought of or never even seen before. So let's jump in today and I'll show you what we've added to our preps and our prepper pantry lately. I'm going to start right over here. So first I picked up this little backpacking stove. I stumbled across this while I was looking for a dual fuel stove to replace, not to replace, I love my butane stove and I use it all the time, and it's been kind of beat up and it's been around. So I decided I should get a backup, another one to have, but I figured I'd get dual fuel. So I had the multiple options. So I stumbled across this. And this is a little stove that actually has 3 different fuel options. So instead of just butane or propane, it has butane, propane, and the butane propane mix fuel canisters. So you can use 3 different types of fuel. So it is pretty small, but I like that it's portable. I like that it comes in its own little case. And I like that it's got the 3 options, because you should always have multiple options if you can. You know, you may have one type of fuel and not have another, and one type of fuel might be easier to get than another after an emergency. And they all have their pros and cons. Every different fuel has its pros and cons. So when you have all the options available, that's good. So I'm going to test this out a little bit later in the video. I do like to, at the end, test and taste a few different things from the video and let you know what I think of them. So I will test this out a little bit later. But I just love how compact this is. You see there's a spot here you could stick a label on or write on this. I love that it's compact and it would be easy to stick or stash anywhere if you needed an extra stove. I highly doubt I'm going to want this to be like a primary stove or recommend it as a primary stove, but as a backup or one to keep in your vehicle or your bug out bag or something, this might be a good option. Next, I've got a case of emergency drinking water. So this is a case of 6 bottles, and I've got 1 bottle out from one of my other cases. So you can see these are liter bottles, and they are made of very, very strong plastic. This is HDPE, which is a rigid, dense, BPA-free plastic that's very safe and much less likely to degrade and shed microplastics like the PET that single-use water bottles are made out of. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can store water, and you should store water a lot of different ways. Once I found this water, I've started to slowly stock up on it, usually like a couple of cases at a time, a case or 2 at a time. I like that this does kind of save me from the chore of rotation, because it does have a 20-year shelf life, bacteria-free guaranteed. It is the purest water out there on the market. And so I'm trying to pick up some every month and just kind of stock it up. I do have a couple of more cases coming because it is on sale right now this month. So this is the time that I would bump it up and buy a little bit more than, I normally do. That's kind of the way I like to do it with a lot of things, buy slow and steady. And then if there's a sale, I bump it up and add a little bit more during the sale. Next, I got a couple of different potassium iodide products. Now, these are a tablet that would be used in the case of a radiation emergency. They're not a cure-all, fix-all. They basically protect one part of your body from one type of radiation, but they are pretty important to have around as part of preparedness. I know that, if people live close to a nuclear power plant, for instance, they will often be provided with these by the government just in case of some sort of an accident or something like that. So every so often, I like to refresh our supply of these kind of things. If you can see right here, the expiration on this one is 2032. So, these will last a good long time, but I do like to be adding fresh all the time, every so often. So I got these IOSAT. This is what people usually think of when you think of buying potassium iodide for emergencies. And it does give dosing instructions on the back. And I also grabbed these, which is the same thing, basically potassium iodide, 130 milligrams. And it's just a different brand and it comes in a bottle. They are tablets, so you can break them because that is important to be able to control dosage. I am going to put links to everything down in the video description and the pinned comment as usual in case you're looking for any of these things for yourself. Next, I got a few things that I picked up on clearance. And I actually got these the same place that I got the water. I love the clearance deals that they have. They have some really good clearance deals, but I like that they have other things too because they give free shipping at $100 or more. And of course, when things are clearance and they're just a few dollars, you're probably not going to spend $100. So I like the fact that I can throw these things on with other things I was already going to order. And it also helps if I have an order that's not quite up to $100, I can grab a couple of things out of the clearance section. So this is really pretty cool. You can see this is like a little credit card sized survival tool. It comes in its own little case. And this is a credit card wallet folding knife. I don't know what you would call this, but you can see it is ultra thin. We'll test this out a little bit later in the video and I'll show you how it works. But the thing about a tool like this, a knife is a really important tool for a lot of different purposes. And the thing with all of your survival tools is the easier they are to always have with you. The lighter, the smaller, the more convenient they are to carry, the more likely you are not to be caught without them and to have one under any circumstance. So this probably wouldn't be the only blade that I would carry, but it is a backup and additional something that I know I can tuck in my wallet and always have with me. So we'll check this out a little bit later in the video. So I did pick up 2 of these because they were super, super cheap in the clearance section. I think they were like less than $4 for that price. I honestly wish I'd have picked up a few more. So, I mean, these would make great little stocking stuffers and things like that. So if there are any left, I may grab more next time I place an order, but super cool little gadget. And then I picked up one of these Silver Biotics Silver Gel. It's like an antibacterial first aid gel. This is really good stuff, the Silver Biotics. This I don't think was on clearance, just on sale, but I did grab one of these for the first aid kit. And then I got these survival tabs. I have seen these for a long time and never actually broke down and tried them until I found them on clearance. And I believe with the clearance, I believe sometimes it might just be new packaging because these are labeled 10-year shelf life, but I know the same product has been doing extensive testing and now is able to claim a longer shelf life, like I think 30 years. So a lot of times they're just changing their labeling, so things will go on clearance. But I found it interesting because I've seen them online and never seen them in person. This bottle was a lot bigger than what I expected it to be, so you can kind of see the size of this, hopefully. It doesn't really have a weight on it. I was looking for a weight to be able to see the weight of it. Maybe I'll weigh it later. But the idea with these is that you could survive on this if you had to. The amount in one bottle, it should be sufficient for 3 days, but it can be stretched to 30 days under extreme conditions. They are meant to be like 99% absorbable, so your body can use all of the nutrients in them. They have all the nutrients your body needs, and they have the protein is 97% usable by your body. And they're just very absorbable, very easily portable. They're very shelf stable. You don't have to worry too much about them getting too hot or too cold. And so one of these bottles would be, you know, a very good addition to a 72-hour kit. I would not ever want to recommend this be somebody's only food that they had. Don't plan things that way. Plan yourself some better food and have something like this as a backup is what I would always say. But if you were stuck in a dire situation and all you had was this could help you survive. They do have a few different flavors. We chose chocolate, and I will probably open this up a little bit later in the video and show you guys what it tastes like. And next I've got some number 10 cans of long-term storage foods. And all of these were on a clearance sale also. So the prices were amazing. In fact, these potatoes, I got these are dehydrated potato shreds. And the thing about having them in a can like this is they're already packaged for long-term storage. So typically if you see something like this at the grocery store, it's going to be sold in a cardboard box, like a milk carton. And so that's definitely not a long-term product. So you would have to repackage it and hope for the best, hope that it would last long. So these are packaged up for 30-year shelf life. They are non-GMO and they have very clean ingredients. They are only potatoes, nothing else. However, unfortunately, these went really fast. These were really popular and they sold out. I did set up a little, I'm keeping a list for when these come back, if these come back, for people who are looking for them. If you want to text potatoes to my number, then I'll add you to my list. And if I see these come back, I will send you a message. I also got butter powder and these other items here. So all the rest of the items besides the potatoes, I got them in a value pack. So all of these that are in the bundle, these are all still available at the time I'm recording this video. The potatoes are out of stock, but the rest of these are all available, at least for the time being. This is a number 10 gallon size of butter powder. There is the same size of freeze-dried peach dices and freeze-dried organic pineapple. And these are no additives or preservatives. They are just the food, 30-year shelf life. These do say opened 1 to 4 weeks. Anybody who's used freeze-dried food pretty much knows it's going to last a lot longer than that. And I have a feeling that it might be another packaging situation, that maybe these are being cleared out because they're going to have new packaging that addresses the fact that they're going to last longer when they're open. And then the other two that came in the value pack are 2 of this non-GMO cornmeal. Now that is notable because most cornmeal sold in the US is GMO. So it's a little bit more difficult to find non-GMO and it's a lot more expensive. So finding this for 50% off was a really good deal. And it's already packaged up for the long-term storage. 20 years on these cans. And I actually got these at the same place that I got these items right here. So once again, I love to be able to combine for free shipping at a single store. That makes me really happy. And next I got another bunch of freeze-dried goodies that I got on a good sale. So I got enough to get free shipping because this is from a different store. And what I got all these 1 ounce bags. So these are smaller, obviously a smaller amount, but that's actually really good because you can use it up quickly after you open it, whether it's in a recipe or if it's in just for snacking. I recently opened up a bag of the broccoli that's like this and just did it up as a side dish. And I will put a video on the screen because it really made a nice pan of broccoli. It's not just a single serving in these bags, although don't get me wrong, when my kids get a hold of a bag of strawberries, coconut, bananas, mangoes, they can definitely eat the whole bag, but it's really more than a single serving. And this is actually something I think a lot of people miss when they're building their food supply. It's not just about having food, it's about having food that you'll actually eat. Because if you don't want it and your kids won't touch it, it doesn't matter how long it lasts. And that's honestly why I'm a little picky about where I get this kind of stuff. If you want to see the foods that I personally trust for long-term storage, I did link that below. And I'm curious to hear from you. Have you prioritized snack foods in your prepper pantry? So I did get cauliflower, I got coconut, I got strawberries, I got banana, and these were all 6 packs because it's a little bit cheaper that way to get 6 of the same item, or they also have value pack with different items. So I got 1 value pack because, like I said, I was trying to get up to $100 in my whole purchase so I could get free shipping. So this one had mango, apples, pineapple, and then our favorites again, the strawberries, bananas, and coconut. So it was an extra bag of those, and then 1 bag of a few other items as well. Things like broccoli and cauliflower I typically use in recipes. They're really great for like a single dish, a single casserole, a single soup. I do meals in a bag with these where it's all shelf-stable ingredients in 1 bag and it's like a meal kit. You just take the bag, you have everything you need to make a meal. So these are great for that. The cauliflower is really good for like a low carb substitute for a pasta, for instance, or rice or anything like that in a meal in a jar. But you also can snack on the cauliflower, broccoli, things like that. You can snack on them just dry and plain, or you could dip these in like veggie dip, like ranch dip. Really, really good. It's almost like a really good potato chip substitute because they have that crispy crunch, and you can dip them in dip, but they are so much healthier than a potato chip. And the coconut, this is a big, huge favorite of Mr. Wicked Prepared. He loves this coconut. And this is, I will open this up a little bit later and show you. It is chunks of coconut. It's not sweetened. It is completely, purely just coconut. And then, of course, strawberries, bananas, all the fruits we love to snack on. A lot of these are things that we could not grow here, in Maine, or most anybody in the United States couldn't grow. So if there was an emergency, the supply chain was not functioning, and we weren't able to get these from around the world, this is the only way we'd have some of these things. If you tried canning bananas or strawberries or mangoes, you're not going to get really the same effect, especially with something like strawberries, bananas. There are canned mangoes that are okay, but I would much rather have, something like this usually. Now, these bags are not going to have the same shelf life as the cans. They're not going to have a 30-year shelf life, but they have about a 4-year shelf life. And honestly, that is plenty because these are things that you can snack on. Really, we should be rotating our prepper pantry and storing things that we do eat. So you should never really be putting anything away and really expecting that you're not going to touch it for 25 or 30 years. That's not really the way to do it anymore. That's a very outdated, antiquated idea of prepping. So a 4-year shelf life is more than enough to bring something into your pantry and just rotate it out within that 4-year period, which it's really easy to do with snacks, things that you can snack on and use in recipes. If you have kids or grandkids, this is a super healthy snack, and kids usually love the freeze-dried fruits. You also can powder them up and use them as a natural food coloring in things like frosting and pancakes and ice cream and all sorts of things, yogurt. So really can't go wrong with these. And then from the same store, I also got some more of these smoothie bites. I showed these in a previous video. They are super, super yummy. This is a brand new snack that they came out with. These are labeled with a 1-year shelf life because they do have a little bit of nuts in them, but they are absolutely delicious, beautiful, and tropical. There's acai bowl smoothie bites. They're freeze-dried smoothie bites. And then there's avo mango freeze-dried smoothie bites. These are gigantic bags. You can kind of see how big the bags are compared to like the number 10 cans, which are gallon-sized cans. So these each have 10 individual snack bags inside of them. But these are absolutely delicious, and they're a very, very healthy snack. And especially if you like sweets, these are a little bit of a sweet snack. They're not super sweet though, which I love. And we're actually going to be giving away a couple of bags of these as a giveaway to our viewers. I'm giving away a bundle with 1 package of each of these 2 flavors, so 2 packages total. To enter, all you have to do is text winner to my number. I'm going to put that on the screen and down below. And then comment below this video, and tell me which flavor you think you'd like better. You can go to the website to read the description of each flavor. I'm going to have the link for that down below. And that's all you have to do. This contest is not sponsored by YouTube. There's no purchase necessary to enter and all of that. I'm going to put the date that the drawing is going to run through on the screen. And if the drawing has ended, you can still text, and I'll add you to a list to notify you the next time that we're doing a giveaway, because we do these like from time to time. So we're also going to notify the winner by text message, and we'll get your address that way to send you your prize. These are going to be a great healthy addition to the snack cupboard portion of your prepper pantry. Snack foods are one of the most underrated and often forgotten elements of an emergency food supply. Now, I grabbed all of this freeze-dried stuff, and it was on sale when I bought it, but right after it arrived, I found out that it was going on an even better sale. So there's a massive clearance sale going on all of this stuff right now, up to 50% off. Like this freeze-dried coconut that we adore is actually 50% off. So we're definitely going to be grabbing some more of that if there's any left, because it's going to go fast. But it's a big, huge blowout sale. On top of the sale that's going on right now, I do actually have a coupon code I almost forgot about for my viewers. So that's just my name, Jara, Jara. You can use that for an extra discount on top of the already slashed sale prices that are like anywhere from, I think, 20 up to 50% off, depending on the items. And if you missed this, if you happen to be watching this video later and that sale is over, then you can use that coupon anytime for a discount off of anything you order, on top of any other sales that are going on, or just to order something when there's no sale going on and get that extra discount. So if you need any of these things in your pantry, now is the time to grab it. Like I said, I always go with $100 or more for the free shipping. When it comes to groceries and food these days, really $100 isn't that much if you think about what it costs when you go to the grocery store. And to have stuff that has a really long shelf life and it's not going to go bad on you and it's super nutritious, super clean label, it's always worth it to me. Stocking up during sales is a great way to get a little extra in your prepper pantry without taking as big of a bite out of your budget. And there's nothing worse than finding out that you missed a great sale on something that you've had your eye on, or that you heard about the sale a little bit late and the best deals are sold out. A great way to stay up to date on sales and coupon codes for freeze-dried and emergency food storage favorites is by texting alert to my number to join my sale alert system. That's usually about 2 to 3 texts a month. But if you're the kind of person who wants first access to everything and doesn't want to miss out, text Insider. That's where I share more frequent deals when things are moving fast. I also recommend visiting and bookmarking tryfreezedried.com. That's our hub to find all the best sources that are tasted, tested, and trusted, as well as up-to-the-minute sale info and current coupon codes as they become available. You can even sign up to receive notifications through the site, which is really, really cool. But the best option is always going to be the text service because you're going to be alerted as soon as prices drop so that you don't miss out on the best deals. These tools have helped a lot of people stock up smarter without overspending. Next, I got a bunch of, these are Lily's, which is the sugar-free candy or chocolate brand, dark chocolate covered almonds. These have become an obsession. These are my sweet treat. I just have a small, like 3 or 4 usually almonds, and a serving is 14 pieces. So I really don't even have a full serving in a day. I have 3 or 4 at a time after a meal for a little dessert. These, to me, these are absolutely delicious, but they're difficult to find. I've never found them in a store, and they're getting more and more expensive, just like all foods are. They're getting harder to find and more expensive. So I usually am buying them in a bulk deal, either to take advantage of free shipping or discounts. It's just usually the cheapest way I can find them. And it is really important to, number one, have snack foods in your prepper pantry. We hear that more than anything else. A lot of people don't think about snacks. They think about rice, beans, survival. That's really, you've got to add snack foods in because there have been real situations where people have had to live out of their emergency pantries for weeks at a time for whatever reason, whether it's after a hurricane or after, a disaster, during a lockdown, something like that. And one thing I hear all the time that people say they learned is they should have more snack foods because they're easy to eat. You don't have to cook them. And when people are stressed and bored, which you could be either or both of those, then you typically are going to snack more. And if it's something that you really, really, really want to have every day, like I am with these, make sure you have a good supply so that you don't get caught without them. Next, I got a bag of cheddar cheese powder. I have other cheddar cheese powders, but this one somebody recommended this as one that they really liked. So I thought I would give it a try. This is not just cheddar powder. It has other ingredients in it, like blue cheese powder, for instance, which can really help increase the flavor value of a cheese powder. So a lot of times with recipes, you'll see those ingredients combined. So my thinking is if I can find a product that already includes a few of those other flavor enhancing ingredients, like blue cheese powder, lactic acid, some of those things that I might buy separately and put into a meal in a jar recipe, for instance. If I can find a product that already includes those, I might save some other people who follow my recipes from having to buy a whole host of different, kind of not that common ingredients. But this can be great for meals in a jar, for making homemade mixes like hamburger helpers and mac and cheeses and stuff like that. It can be good for sprinkling on something like popcorn, or if you do like freeze-dried or dehydrated veggie chips in your freeze dryer or your dehydrator, this can be a good flavoring for those. Lots of uses for this powder. Next, I got some canned goods here. So I've got a case. I tend to buy my canned goods by the case, usually, as if that's the most cost-effective way to buy them. This is cream of mushroom soup. We use a lot of this. We've been actually using a ton of this lately because we have a baked mushroom Swiss burger recipe that I have been making on repeat because everybody loves it, and it uses cream of mushroom soup, believe it or not. I do have a recipe for DIY make your own cream of mushroom soup dry mix if you're interested in that. But sometimes I like to use that. Sometimes I prefer to just open a can. But I really feel like ingredients like this can be used in an emergency. If you've got some pasta, some canned or freeze-dried veggies and meat and something like a cream soup like this, you can whip up a whole casserole and have a whole meal for your family pretty simply and easily. Next, I got a couple cases of Del Monte. So these are like their specialty corn veggies. So there's a fire roasted corn and a white corn. So these were on sale for these cases, and it was a pretty good deal. Now, to be clear, this is not a better deal than buying like store brand, generic brands, obviously, but I usually can't find some of these specialty varieties in the really cheap veggies, and I wanted these for recipes. So I've been buying a lot of fire roasted corn frozen, like bird's eye, and it's really expensive. It's like $4 almost for a bag here. So I thought that these cans, if they work the same, might be a good way to go for that. For some recipes, I use that in. And then the white corn, just for certain recipes like white chicken chili, I kind of like to have a white corn. So a little silly, but you know, if I'm indulging myself in something like canned vegetables, it probably could be a lot worse. Up here, I've got a few other grocery items. So this is a brand of mac and cheese, Fiber Gourmet. So it's less calories, more fiber, lower carbs. It's not super low carb. It's not what I would call like a keto item, but it is a lot less. And I actually got thinking about this from a girl that I follow who lost a bunch of weight and is, she shares recipes where she's all about macros and calories in, calories out, and making swaps where she can have something that she enjoys, just make it a little bit healthier. So she kind of inspired me to try this. She had a different mac and cheese, and then I stumbled upon this one that's a little bit even better, I thought, in the macros and the fiber and the carbs. So I thought I would give it a try. We love to keep mac and cheese on hand in our prepper pantry. I am a sucker for Kraft. I mean, I love me some Kraft mac and cheese. Throwback to my childhood, but if I could find something a little bit healthier where I kind of can have some balance there, I thought that would be good. So I'm going to give these a try. And next, a couple, these are Dollar Tree pasta pouches. This is already cooked pasta, so it's like a single serving or maybe 2 servings. I know it says 2 servings, but I know my teenager eats a whole bag in one sitting, so probably most people would. But these are already cooked, so they are really, really handy for emergencies. You wouldn't need water. You wouldn't technically even need heat. You could eat them cold, but even just, warming them for 30 seconds in a pan on your emergency stove is going to be a lot easier than having to boil and drain dry pasta. And they're also really good for things like college students or camping and hiking and things like that. These are super handy, and my kids will grab these out if they need a really quick snack or meal. And we've been going through a lot of these, so I needed to add a few more back and kind of restock. And then, of course, I've got some pasta sauce, which is also really important. I think pasta, whether it's already cooked pasta or dry pasta, I think it's a really, really good ingredient to have in your prepper pantry. It's inexpensive, it's filling, and most people like it. And you can have so many different meals because there's so many different sauce options, or you can throw it in a casserole or something like that. So here I've got great value Alfredo sauce, which my kids will argue is the best Alfredo sauce in the world. So I've got small jars and big jars, just depending on what you're using it for or who's eating, how many people are eating. In an emergency, keep in mind you might want to have smaller containers of things, as small as you can get, because you may not be able to refrigerate any leftovers. So you will want smaller containers that you can open up and finish up quickly. But we do eat, obviously, out of our pantry. We have a working pantry that's, always rotating. So, we would use larger jars on a regular basis. So I have both here. Now let's dive a little deeper and test out a few of these items that I've shown today, and I will let you know what I think of them. I'm going to start by opening and taste testing a few of these freeze-dried items, and I'm going to start with the coconut because this is a favorite of us and a lot of other people, and it is on sale for 50% off right now at the time that I'm recording this. So I'm going to show you what this looks like inside and what it tastes like. All right, so here's the coconut. So you can see it is just pieces of coconut. Now this is just coconut. There's no sugar. There's nothing added. It's just like you had taken pieces of a fresh coconut and freeze dried them just to remove all the moisture. So they are light and crispy. You can see how easily that breaks, but they are just pure healthy coconut, no sugar or no additives, preservatives, no nothing. All right, let's give them a try. And I'm going to go ahead and try a piece of the coconut for you. Ooh, so good. So it's just got a slight sweetness It's not very sweet like a sweetened candy or coconut product. A lot of people are used to like the coconut bites that Thrive Life had, and those were sweetened. They were like a candy, basically. They were a sweet treat. This is a treat. It's mildly sweet, and it has that coconut flavor, but it's not that strong, kind of overpowering sweet, like fake coconut flavor that you would get in a candy or, you know, a dessert or something. It's a little bit more dense than like a really airy freeze-dried fruit, like a strawberry, for instance. It's a little more dense, but it doesn't have that chewy kind of consistency that fresh coconut has. I don't know if that's the right word, but if you had fresh coconut, you know what I'm talking about. And I do like fresh coconut, but I love these freeze-dried. And Mr. Wicked Prepared is obsessed with these. So I'm definitely going to be ordering a bunch more of these at 50% off, as long as there's any left, because these are a favorite of a lot of people. And it's different. Really good snack mix you can make with these. Like a strawberry pina colada, some freeze-dried strawberries, pineapples, coconut. You can throw in coconut sweetened, like coconut chips as well, to get a little bit of extra sweetness in there if you want. A lot of people like it just without, but super, super good. And next I'm going to try the mango. You can see that some bags are fuller than others because these are done by weight. So there's 1 ounce of product in all of them. So some of them are going to be bulkier and, you know, take up more space. And some of them are going to be less bulky because they use the same size of bag pretty much for all of these different items. So here's the mango. It is just a pure slice of mango that has been freeze-dried. So let's give these a try. And these are beautiful whole slices of mango. It's not like the dices like you sometimes have seen in the past. Beautiful whole slices. The good thing about with freeze-dried food, if you can get a larger piece, you can always break it into smaller pieces if you need it like that for a recipe, but you can't make smaller pieces bigger. So if I have to choose, I would have a bigger piece because I know I can make it smaller. And for snacking, these are great. So I'm going to use a smaller little slice for snacking, for trying. This is so good. Sweet, a little bit tangy, but not much. I'm not into tangy stuff. A little bit of tang, really good sweet tropical mango flavor. And it's got that nice light airy crunch. A little bit denser than like a, you know, cheese puff kind of texture, but still light and airy and so good. And because these are slices, you could dip these in like a fruit dip or yogurt or really anything that you wanted to dip it in, and it would work great for that. They are so good. And next I'm going to try something I did not have on the table, but I'm going to open up a dragon fruit and show you guys, because the coconut, like I said, is 50% off, but the dragon fruit is 40% off. So it's a really good deal also. So we'll definitely be getting some of that. But by the time I get it and show you guys, it'll probably be too late for you to take advantage of the sale. So I know sometimes a lot of people might not be familiar with dragon fruit. And so, you know, you might want to see it a little bit before you dive in and order some if you're not familiar with it. This has got a couple stuck together. Here's a really nice slice of dragon fruit. You can see how beautiful this color is. This is amazing. You can get dragon fruit in white or in this deep sort of fuchsia color. And the really good thing about this is it makes a really good natural food coloring. You can see the powder on my fingers. If you put this in a smoothie, it makes a beautiful, brilliant pink color. Well, depending on what else you have in the smoothie with it. You know, if you put spinach and stuff, it's not going to be quite so beautiful, but it makes a beautiful smoothie. It makes a beautiful powdered natural food coloring, and it's also delicious. Let's try it. So here is a beautiful, beautiful piece of dragon fruit. So good. I think sweeter, a little bit of a richer sweetness than like the mango, for instance. Definitely sweeter than the coconut. And it has less tang, less of that little tart aftertaste of that fruit tends to have. This really doesn't have a lot of tang. Some dragon fruit doesn't have a really strong flavor. It just kind of tastes almost like nothing. Or some dragon fruit has an almost like a little dirt aftertaste to it. I don't know what it is, but if you may have noticed that in other products and you might know what I'm talking about. But this, I don't taste that in this at all. It's really, really good. And like I said, it would be great for food coloring, for, you know, throwing in a smoothie. My girls love it when I put some pink dragon fruit in a smoothie and give it that kind of extra rich pop of color. Super cute. And finally, I want to open up the cauliflower, the freeze-dried cauliflower, and show you, because this is another thing. Everyone is familiar with cauliflower, obviously, but a lot of people haven't seen or experienced freeze-dried cauliflower. And it's a really, really kind of neat item to be able to have in the pantry. Like I said, it does have a lot of different uses with low-carb cooking. It's very, very nutritious. It's good for you. It's, one of those cancer-fighting veggies. And this is really kind of the only way you could have good cauliflower in your shelf-stable pantry. I mean, you really can't can it. I don't know, you're probably not even supposed to can it, but it definitely wouldn't turn out very well if you did try it. It would just be mushy and gross. So other than like pickling it, which would be okay, that would be one thing. But dehydrated cauliflower, also, if you've ever dehydrated cauliflower, it is no bueno. So I'm going to open this up and show you and taste the freeze-dried cauliflower. All right, so I've got my cauliflower floret here. That is good. It has a slight sweetness, not really sweet like a fruit, but it just has a really nice, there's something about freeze-dried broccoli and cauliflower. They have a delicious, delicious light sweet taste. There's not a whole lot of that kind of cabbagey like flavor in there, a little bit. But even if you don't like cauliflower, I would say try that. It's really, really good. And you could dip those in ranch dip or, whatever you like to dip your vegetables in. Hummus even, the freeze-dried like broccoli florets and cauliflower florets with hummus is a really, really good healthy snack. So much healthier than using some chips or even pita. So now you all know what the freeze-dried cauliflower is like. I'll probably be using some of these bags in some upcoming recipes as well. Meals in a bag, meals in a jar. I just got a bunch of these, you saw, but I may get some more while they're on sale. One good thing about these bags is they do all have a Ziploc seal, a zipper seal. So if you don't eat the whole bag in one sitting, you can seal it up. I like sending these with my daughter to school, not necessarily the cauliflower. She would not eat the cauliflower, but she loves, loves, loves the strawberries and the bananas. So if I can send her with a bag, she'll usually finish it, but if she can't, she can zip it up and save it for later. Now let's open up a couple of those freeze-dried fruit cans so we can see what it's like inside the can. All right, I've got the pineapple open here. Now let's get into the peaches. So here are the diced peaches. These are freeze-dried peach dices. So these are not in slices like you sometimes see. Here's that oxygen absorber. These are dices, so they'd be really great for throwing into oatmeal, for throwing into cakes and things like that. A lot of baked goods, scones, a lot of different things. You could definitely do something like a pie or a cobbler out of this, although I would also use slices for that. That would be good for either one, but these are nice dices. And these peaches are just the peaches, no additives or preservatives. So that's really good about these. All right, I've got my pineapple here, my freeze-dried organic pineapple. I could eat this like popcorn, much sweeter than popcorn. But that is a really, really satisfying crunch and just a really good sweet pineapple-y taste. So that's really good for snacking. I use this in a lot of recipes also. All kinds of recipes, not just desserts. Like I do, tropical chicken type of recipes or pork, pulled pork, pizza. You can put it on a Hawaiian pizza if that's your thing. I love that. I also like pineapple on a barbecue chicken pizza. So super yummy for recipes, but super yummy for just snacking dry. I mean, how can you go wrong with freeze-dried fruit? But this one is really good. And like I said, a snack mix with the mango or the coconut, things like that. Make a tropical snack mix for summer. Delicious. And now I've got my peach dices, my freeze-dried peach dices. These are good. The little cube shape is just perfect for snacking. I mean, think of like popcorn, little candies, just picking it up and eating it. So good. This is just peaches like I showed you. So, so good. Even without the sugar, they're very sweet. They're not tangy. They're not tart. They're delicious. And the little dices also would be really good for toddlers and little kids. Toddlers love picking up little finger foods, and they would love those peaches. Like I said, I got these 50% off in the bundle, and even without the bundle, they're 45% off. I always use a subscribe and save option, even on something like this that I probably won't be ordering again next month. I just change it or cancel it, gets that extra 10% off, which brings that up to like over 50% off, so that's pretty incredible. If you want to see some of those other products from the cans in action, I just did a meal in a jar recipe. The video is out. I'll link it down below for funeral potatoes, meal in a jar, which came out amazing. And I used the same butter powder that I have over there and also those potato shreds that I have over there. So you can check that out down below. All right, now for a moment of truth. Let's try these survival tabs. This is one of those things. It's not necessarily meant to be delicious, but it should be palatable. I mean, you're not going to want to survive on this ever. And if you have to, you're going to at least want it to taste decent. So let's see how these are. All right, so they're pretty well sealed because they had their little tamper-proof seal. They've got their screw cap, and then they've got this induction sealed little inside part right here. And then, ooh, smells good. I smell chocolate. There's this wad of plastic in here, which is, I'm sure, to keep it from jumbling around and breaking, like they would put cotton into, pill bottles back in the day. Maybe they still do sometimes. I don't usually see that. So this is pretty full. You can see they didn't waste any space here. It's full right up to the top. Like I said, this should technically be enough tabs to keep you going on just these for 3 days in an emergency. Not by choice. All right, so here is the little tablet. And I believe it says 6 of these is to be 1 meal, 6 at a time. So let's give it a try. That has a good flavor. It tastes like hot cocoa. It's not really a weird aftertaste. It's not really chalky. It's not really chewy. It's almost a little bit of like, I don't want to say grit, but almost like it was sugar crystals, like something like that, a little bit. But it chewed up really easily. It didn't hurt my teeth. It wasn't hard to chew into. And it tasted pretty good. I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind eating these. I think if I was eating nothing but this for 3 days, I would definitely get sick of them. That's what they say, food fatigue. But something like that could keep you alive, and it doesn't taste bad. There was several other flavors too that we looked at. We chose chocolate because we both like chocolate. Of course, you don't want to open it up if you're going to be keeping it. I'm going to have to figure out a way to seal this back up, but I wanted to try those for you because I knew people would be curious. That is definitely not bad. When you think about something like this, if you were to put it, say, in your bug out bag, for instance, just in case, I mean, if you didn't have room for a lot of other food, or you went through all your snacks or something happened, they got damaged, they got eaten by mice, who knows? But something like this, I always think when you're hiking, your bag is getting lighter every time you're eating them. So this is not super heavy, but every time you eat 6 tablets out of here, it's going to get a little bit lighter. So actually, this is kind of a cool little survival tool to have around. I'll probably try to grab some more of the other flavors while they're still on clearance, hopefully before they're gone. All right, now let's check out this little knife, this little credit card survival knife, because this is so cool. So you can see, I showed you just how thin and sort of portable this is. It's great to tuck away anywhere. So this is a little thing that locks the blade down like this. And now actually one thing I did notice is it did not come with any instructions, so I'm kind of winging this on my own. I haven't played with these yet. So I can spin this around. When you see the green, you're safe because it's locked. So when you don't see the green, the blade can come out. And you see it just lifts right up off of the thing like this. And then it's going to flip over like this. I'm going to fold, let's see, it's going to fold this side first because you can see this has little nubbies. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to snap this down to the nubbies. So now we've got the knife. So now we've got a handle that is sturdy because we folded that all over and looped this together. And we've got the knife. It's got a blade that is pretty pointy and sharp on the top. Definitely not the sharpest blade I've ever had, but you could definitely sharpen this. And like I said, this is going to be a backup. This is going to be for if something happens to your original, or you forget or you lose your original, like your blade that you typically carry. This would be very handy for anything, even if you just need to cut some food or something when you happen to be out and about and you don't have a blade with you. So this is super, super. And then of course it can go right back together like this. And I'm just going to put this, twist this a little bit to lock this into place. And now that I see the green, the blade is locked and the card is ready to go back into its little pocket and be tucked away again in my wallet, my purse. One little word of caution about wallet survival tools. I love little portable wallet size things, but don't forget you have it, because this is one of my wallets here. And in this little back pocket, I have a little phone charger that is also very thin and sort of wallet size, which I loved about it. But for several months after I stashed it in my wallet here, I forgot that I had even put it in there, and it was not bulky enough for me to notice, you know, just carrying my wallet around or taking it in and out. So there was several times when I could have used that tool, but I forgot I had it. So that's one of the hazards. Maybe not for everybody, maybe just for forgetful people like me. But that's one of the hazards with things that are super portable, super small, super convenient. Just don't forget you have it. Now, if you want to see a taste test of the smoothie bites, I will put a link down below to where you can see a taste test of those that I already did. But right now, I'm going to taste test this light, high fiber, lower calorie, lower carb mac and cheese. And I'm going to try to do it on the new Tri-Fuel backpacking stove. All right, so let's see if I can figure out this stove, because I noticed something else that seems to be a theme here is no instructions. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, there was no instructions anywhere. So I've got the 3 tips here. One is for propane, one is for butane, and one is for the propane-butane blend or mix. I will say one thing I like to have when I am using something like this indoors is an insulated cookie sheet to set it on. This one's been through a lot. I usually use my most beat up one, but just to protect countertops and to protect everything around, I like to have something to set it on or in. So this is apparently the attachment for the butane. I am used to a butane stove where the canister clicks in, locks in, and it's not like this. But so I see that this will fit onto here because this little bit here will fit into the notch here. But I'm going to first attach it onto here. And then I can put this in here. Let's keep this far away from this. All right, so I'm going to open up the legs that keep it stable and hold the pan in place and get the fuel as far away as I can. All right, so here is the little knob where you can turn the fuel on. Whoa, it's like a rocket flame. All right, so here goes nothing. I've got my pot of water. I'm going to set this up on here. Ooh. It's actually looking pretty good. All right, let's get the macaroni opened up while we're waiting. Let's look at the instructions. Just calls for 3 tablespoons of low-fat milk. It says butter is optional for a creamier texture. Obviously, you'd have more calories with the butter, but I'm not worried about the fat or the calories as much as I am about the carbs and all that other stuff. So we've got macaroni in here and a cheese packet looking pretty familiar. I do want to say we have a fire extinguisher handy and a carbon monoxide detector. Always, always, always remember that. All right, so we are just about boiling. It is not completely boiling, but it's starting to have bubbles rise up. It's been just over 5 minutes. I feel like that's kind of a long time, but that being said, I do not have this cranked up all the way because I'm a little afraid. So it's not running at full strength, but it's just about to boil, and this is usually when I would put my macaroni in. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my macaroni in and give it a stir. And it does say to boil this for 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to get this boiling and I will see you back when it's done. All right, 10 minutes has passed. All right, I've got this turned off. I'm just going to drain it and we'll fix it up. All right, here's the drained macaroni. Now I am going to put butter in. So there's my about 2 tablespoons of butter. I really never measure anything when making box mac and cheese. I don't think anybody does. That's about melted. Get my couple tablespoons of milk in there. And now the cheese sauce powder. All right, let's get this mixed up and see what we got. Now, I will sometimes put mac and cheese back on the burner just for a minute or two to thicken that cheese sauce up, so maybe I'll do that. All right, yeah, this is already starting to thicken. I'm going to turn it off. So you can see that thickening there and leaving the streaks on the bottom of the pan. All right, now I'm going to serve this up and give it a try. And of course, we always use our finest china when we are taste testing. Nice and cheesy. Let's give it a try. All right, time to try the macaroni and cheese. Love me some mac and cheese. That's not bad. That's pretty good. I think it's probably equally as good as Kraft. The noodles have a little bit more body to them. Like, they're not mushy. They actually have a good texture, which surprises me because with a low carb pasta, sometimes you might think that the texture would be weird, but this tastes pretty good. The texture of the noodles is different. It is actually less mushy than like Kraft. Probably because I probably tend to overcook my Kraft. Those noodles are smaller and thinner, but the noodles have a good texture. The cheese sauce tastes perfectly fine, like Kraft, very similar. Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with this. It is obviously nothing compared to like homemade ooey gooey mac and cheese, but for a box mac and cheese, this is perfectly fine. So for the added, health benefits, the lower carb, lower calories, higher fiber, I would definitely buy this again. It is a little spendy. I will try to link it down below so you can check it out. I mean, it's not super spendy. That's why I picked this one over other brands that were also healthy because it was a little bit less expensive. But this is pretty good for a pantry meal that is a little bit healthier. Overall, I am pretty happy with that little stove, especially considering the price I paid for it. It was pretty inexpensive. I think it was just over $20 maybe. I cooked the macaroni with it. It did really good at that. I did that indoors. I'm comfortable cooking with butane inside. I do it all the time. I had Mr. Wicked prepared. I employed him to help me test the other fuels outdoors. I'm not as comfortable cooking with those other fuels inside. So we took that outside and tested the propane and the butane propane mix canisters. Those worked the best. The mix, as far as just ease of attaching and just the way that the setup was. The stove is a little bit rudimentary, I guess you would say, in some of the, connecting the fuel, and it's just I'm more accustomed to a traditional camp stove where everything's kind of housed in a shell, and it kind of all comes together. So it was a little rudimentary, but it worked really well, and it was just, I love the way it fits in the little case. It's very portable, and it has the 3 fuel options, and it worked really well. So I'm pretty happy with that for the price. It's not going to be my primary stove, but it's going to be a nice addition to our gear. I will say, as it came from the factory or from Amazon, I guess, the little igniter, the little ignition piece was not sparking as it came. And so I did have to have Mr. Wicked Prepared bend that piece down a little bit closer to the base of the stove so that it would spark. But once he did that, that worked great. And I think we also had to tighten a piece of one of the connectors, the adapters, to make sure that everything was all tight and didn't leak. But other than that, a couple little adjustments, it was perfect. Now is not a time to panic, but it is a time to step it up a bit in your preparedness. Take inventory, fill gaps, make improvements, rotate and replace. No excuses. It doesn't matter the size of your budget or what size your storage space is or any of that, as long as you're moving forward. Everyone preps in their own way and at their own speed, and sometimes it takes creativity and ingenuity, but the peace of mind that it brings is worth it. Don't forget to look down below for links to check out all of the things that I've shown today, as well as my favorite and most trusted sources for all things emergency preparedness. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, drop your favorite fruit emoji right down below in the comments. And if you're looking to seriously amp up your preparedness, you're going to find another video right up here that will help you on your way. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.